Morning, guys. This is Mr. Ndabezita once again, and we still continuing with C sharp, and there are just a few things that I would like us to look at and try by all means to understand them so that we can, at the end of the day, learn something from all this. So the very first thing that I think it is very important that we just have to do is to just look at the this reference keyword. So we will be looking at this reference, and then from there we will transcend to some other things. Okay, that is fine. Allow me just to prepare some few things. So let's name the project name as this reference. It will be saved on the desktop, of course, and the .NET 6.0 will be used as a long-term support. And once that has been put in place, I think it is important that we have some notes on this. So understanding this reference, and we read that when you create a class, only the copy of the class code is stored in a computer memory. However, you might eventually create thousands of objects from the class. When you create each object, you provide storage for each of the object instance variables. Right, okay, that is fine. So let us try to check exactly what is happening here. So I'm just going to come here, get rid of that. Right, and then once that has been done, the first thing that we are going to do, remember, is to have the namespace, and I'll just probably call that X. I will just have a class, I'll call that P, and I'll have a static void main string of arguments, and I will just have this. So what I want to do is to come here and just add a new item, and the item name will be a book. We want to create a class which we will call a book, and then from the book there are a few things that we shall do. Now I am inside of this class, so I will just tag just to end the class. All right, now I have a class, it's internal, the class is called a book, and one most important thing that I want to do inside of this class is to declare some fields, some members of this class. Now one member of the class will be a private, it will be of type string, and I will call this the title of the book. It has nothing for now. I will also have a private, and this will be of type int, and it will be the number of pages. And then thirdly, I will have a private, it will be of type double, and this will be called the price of this book. Okay, trying to place this laptop in a good position. All right, now that we are fine, the first thing that I want to do is to create an accessor that will be able to return for me the private string title member. So I will just say public, and it will be of type string, and I will just call this the title. Now remember, with accessors we will have the get, but because I'm not setting anything or I'm not having any restrictions for this, I'll just use the auto implemented get and set. This is exactly what I will do. All right, there is some unusual noise coming from the laptop which I don't like, and I just feel like correcting this. Okay, let me just place the laptop here and see if the noise will persist. All right, I think we are fine. So when we are here, let me just place the keyboard here. All right, now we have an accessor that will be able to access the private member, which is the title. Right, now to check if this is going to work, let us just come, okay, no, let's just leave it. Let me not use an auto implemented property here. Let me say get, and let me say return the title, the private member, and let me say set, sorry, let me say set title, it's equals to the value that you will pass for that. All right, that is fine. So this is what we have. Everything still fine. Now this is only the accessor that I'm going to have. I'm not going to set the accessor for the number of pages and for the price, because I just want us to look at this keyword. We just trying to understand it. So let me have a method that will be public, it will return nothing, and I will call this method the advertising message. So this will be called the advertising message, and the work of this method is just to have a right line. So I can just come here and just say using static system.console, and when I'm inside of this method, what I just want to do is to just have a right line, and the right line that will just say buy it now, and then what will be that it will be a string that comes from the user, which is the title of the book. But I want to show you something here. When I type in title, two things appears. I have an accessor and I have a private field. I know I don't have access to this, so I'm going to assign this via an accessor. Very, very important. So I'm going to pick this one. All right, that is fine. I hope that we have understood that. Okay, Now let us continue with this. Right. Now, what is the this keyword? The this reference, it's a reference. The this reference is the address of the object to which the method applies. Very important. When you call the method, for example, we call in the advertising message, you automatically pass the this reference to the method, so the method knows which instance of the book to use. This is most important. So even if we do not use the this keyword here, let me show you. Suppose I say return the this dot title. The this dot title knows exactly that it has to reference to the private string, which is title. And I can also come here and I can use the this keyword. The this knows exactly that it refers to the private member. It will reference to that. So any changes that I make will automatically affect that. I can also come here and use the this reference, so that this will refer to the accessor here. So any changes made to the accessor, because the accessor returns the private member and also set the private member field, which is the title. So any changes, because it is called by reference, the this reference will reference to this, which will manipulate that. It is very important that we try and understand this in this way. Right. They say now you can implicitly refer to the this reference within an instance method or a property. For example, when you refer to title, which is this one, if we refer to this one or we reference to that one within a book class method or accessor, you are referring to the title field of this book, the book whose name you used in the method call. Perhaps that will be my book or your book when we have created an object of this. Right. However, using this keyword, it's not required in this instance. In this problem, we are not required to use the this reference. It's not required. Right. Where this was implied but not written explicitly works just as well. So this can work just as much good as when it doesn't have this reference, because even if you don't type this this reference, it will be auto pre-typed for you in the background, so that it can reference to the member to the member from which it belongs to. Even if you don't type it, it will be automatically be typed for you. This is what we are just trying to explain. Right. So what we are saying is the following. We are saying to you, the book class will work without adding the explicit reference of the this keyword to this. It will work. This class will work just fine even if we can remove the this keyword. Everything will work just fine, because even if you remove it, it will be on the background added for you automatically. However, you should be aware that the this reference is always there, working behind the scenes. Even if you remove this, even if we remove this, even if we remove this, even if we do this, you should know that this reference is there working behind the scenes. Very important, so that everything that you are trying to do works just fine. So this is very important. Sometimes you may want to include this reference within a method for clarity. You will see when we deal with inheritance, then it becomes of significant importance, and it is very clear why this keyword should be used. More especially if you are using the same names and you want to use this keyword so that it can reference to whatever which you want it to reference upon. So you will get a more clarity when we deal with the concept of inheritance. Right, so we are saying sometimes you may want to include this reference within a method for clarity, so the reader has no doubt when you are referring to a class instance variable. Okay, that is fine. Now what I want us to do is to go to the main, and because we know that the namespaces are not the same, we just have to copy this one. So let's just copy this one, and on top of the namespace we just say using, and then we just paste it. Now when I'm inside of the main, the first thing that I want to do is to create the object of this book, because I just have a blueprint. When you say book like this, book is just a blueprint of the actual object that you are going to create. So when I say my book, now my book will be the actual object now, and I can say this is equals to new, and I can just exclude the book there, and everything will just be fine. This is the short version of reserving memory for whatever for this class and the object of that class. Sorry. Right, and then I want to create another book, a second book, and this will be now your book equals new, and I just do this. Very good. And then I want to say my book dot, and look what I have access to. I have access to the title, which is a what now? An accessor. Title has a get and a set, so it is an accessor. Do I have access to the private member? No, I don't have it. And I also have access to the advertising message. Okay, that's fine. So I want to say my book dot title, and because it accepts a string, and I'm going to say, okay, the title of the book, let's say Mabuni. Right, and then once I have the title of this book, I want to go now and say my book dot title, sorry, your book dot title, and the title of your book will be let me think about it. It will be Mabupani. Let's say Mabupani. These will be just the titles of these two books, the title for my book and the title for your book. And then once that has been done, I want to invoke the method now. So I'm going to say my book dot advertising message. Remember, it's a method that accepts no parameters. and I can also say your book dot advertising message. So what is going to happen? Let's go to the book. It will say buy it now, and it will write the title of the book, and then because I have invoked the method 2 times, it will say buy it now and show the title of the other book, because I have created 2 objects. And I can run this and find out what truly entails. Right, so it says buy it now, Mabopane, buy it now. Oh, the names are the same. Sorry, let me check. Maboning and Mabopane. Okay, buy it now, Maboning, and buy it now, Mabopane. Okay, everything is fine. So we just had a little bit understanding on how this reference works, but it was of no use in this coding lesson, because we didn't go deeper into this reference to see exactly what a use of this could be, because we have ran our code without having this keyword, and everything it's working just fine. You can see that we don't have this keyword. Even if we can include it, nothing will change. Everything will still work the way in which it has to work. So I can come here, include this keyword, and I can try to run the code, and everything will still work the way in which it has to work. So we did not see the importance of using this reference, because in this lesson, in this contextual format of use, we could use this reference, and we could choose not to use it, even though it will be auto implemented for us behind the scenes. So because of that, we did not really see the power working behind this reference, but that is fine. Let's just leave it at that. We are not going to bother ourselves with that. Now, there's one most important thing that I think we should also look at very carefully. And while we are in this class, this internal class which we call the book, now remember we have a private int, which is the number of pages, private double, which is the price. So what we want to do, we want to create a method. Okay, we want to create a method, but before we can create this method, let's come here and let's have a private. It will be of type double, and we will call this the text. All right, now let's come here and create a method. It will be public, it will return void, and the name of this method will be set the price and text. So we will just set the price and text. Right, this method will accept one argument of type double, and this will be called the price. Right, that's fine. So what is it that I want to do inside here? I want to say price is equals to the price. Now let's check this price. refers to the argument there, and this price also refers to that. So now there's confusion happening here, and when you hover over this, it says assignment made to the same variable. Did you mean to assign something else? This is true. This price that I'm having here, I want this price to be something different. So when you say that this now, because the names are exactly the same, it's price with small letter, it's price with a small letter again. Now I want to differentiate between the two prices. One price should refer to the private member, and another price should refer to the argument in this method. That's when now you see the significance of using the this keyword. So we are using the this keyword in this case because we are having the same names and we want to reference to the two different things. Now that this keyword comes into play now. When I say this dot price, this price will reference to the private member field, and this one price will refer to a price that you will receive when you invoke this method. You will have to set the price, and that price will be automatically set inside of the private member. This is where now the use of the this keyword comes to a very important use. However, I could have came here and used a cap for price, and now when I come here and I say price and I pick this one, now I don't have to use this reference now, because this price will reference to that, and this one will be received as an argument when you invoke this method. Alright, but I'm not going to do that. I want to still leave this as a price, and that one also as a price, and just use this keyword because we are trying to understand how this keyword works. Now once that has been done, I can now go and calculate the tax, and the tax will be equals to the what now? It will be equals to the price. I know when I want to find out what the tax would be, I just have to take the price and multiply by the tax rate, and then I will know what the tax would be. So this is exactly what I am going to do. I am just going to multiply those two. So I'm just going to take the price, and then I am going to multiply the price with the tax rate. Very, very important. So do I have the tax rate? So I'll just take the price and multiply that by the tax. So this will be the tax rate. But you can see that I did not assign any value to the tax. I do not have direct access to this. I will just have to create an accessor that will be able to set that price for me. So this is just me trying to show you something. We're not going to continue with that. That was just us trying to just show you how this keyword really works. All right, that is fine. That is fine. What I want us to look at now is to say, okay, let's just leave this. You have understood what this reference really does when the names are the same and you want to reference to something different. Now I want us to come here, add a new item, and we will call this the employee class. Now in this employee class, there's something very important that I think we need to look at. Now we will be looking at the issue of the constructors now. Okay, so you want to come here, we want to create an object, but now we don't want to create a constructor that accepts no argument. We want to now create a constructor that will be able to accept some arguments now. So hence I am coming to this. Now I have an internal class which I call the employee, and now I want, the first thing that I want to do inside of that class is some few things. The first thing that I want to do is to have the public let me go to employee. I want to have a public. It will be of type int, and I will have the ID number of the person as a property. So get and set, that is fine. This is the first property that I have. Okay, and then secondly it will be a public double. They have to be public because they are properties. Very important, they are properties, they have to be public so that I can access them outside of this class. Very important. And this one will be a salary, and we will also have a get and a set. And then remember, this is just an auto implemented property. That's fine. And then I want to create a constructor. Now your constructors have to be public. So when you create a constructor, you make it public. It uses the same name as the name of your class, so you will say employee. So you are creating a constructor so that you can construct your object. Okay, so this one will be a constructor that receives no argument. Right, this one receives no arguments, and inside of this constructor I just want to say the ID number via what now? Remember, this is an accessor, the ID number. So what am I doing here when I say maybe 999? It is the set. I'm setting the ID number to that value. Very good. And then one thing that I want to say again, I want to set the salary to be initially 0. Even if I don't set it to 0, even if I can just maybe do that, it will not work. You just have to set it to 0. That will be the value of the salary. So I want to overload this class with constructors because I can have more than one constructor in a class. I want to have a public again, and it's a constructor, but this one will receive one argument, and this will be the employee ID. Right, that's fine. Now I have the employee ID, and I want to say the ID number, it's equals to what now? I want to say now the ID number, it's equals to okay, let me just do this. I wanted to use the information of the previous employee class that we had, but okay, that's fine. Let me just let me come here and just say I have a constant. Let me say int, and I want to say okay, employee ID and let me set this to those 6. Okay, let me just do that so that when I come here I can just say the ID number it's equals to the employee ID. Let's just do that. All right, and then let's come again and just say the salary it still equals to 0. Let's have a third constructor now. So it's public, they always have to be public, they have the same name as the name of the class. And now this one will receive 2 arguments. The first one will be the employee ID, and the second one will be a double, which is the salary of this employee. And be that as it may, I will also say the ID number. The ID number it's equals to the employee ID. Very important that I am using, so I will accept an ID number from the user as an argument, and I will assign that to the accessor. Very important. And I will also auto implement and say that the salary is equals to the salary that you will provide to us. Right, so those are the constructors. And let me have the last constructor. It will be public, it will be employee, and this one will receive a character, and this will be called the code. And what is it that I want to do now? Okay, I want to say the ID number, the one of the accessor is equals to 111, and I want to say the salary of the individual via an accessor, it's a, let me just say 123 123. All right, so suppose those are the values that I have. So what have I done here? I have created an employee class, it's internal. So I have a const ID int employee ID, it's this, so this will not change. And I have a public int, this is a property get and set for ID number and for salary. Now when you say public and you use the same name as the name of a class, you are creating a constructor. The first one receives no argument, and it just set these 2 accessors to those values. Okay, and I have a second constructor which accepts an argument of type int, it's called employee ID, and it just take the employee ID and set that to the ID number, so it will receive this when we construct our class. And then the salary will be 0, that is also fine. And then we have a public employee, the int ID and the double salary, and then we are saying when you insert the value for ID as an int, it will go to the ID number, and salary will do the same. So I hope you understand what is happening there. So I think it is important that we just comment this piece of code. Right, so now I am inside of the main, and I have already auto imported the class. So what I will do, the first thing I will call employee, and I will create the object of the employee as a worker, and this will be equals to new employee. Right, now I am setting no arguments here. So which constructor is responsible for this. Let's go to the employee class, and it's this one. So it will reference to this one, the constructor that accepts no arguments. So that is why when I come here, I don't have a problem with that, because it will reference to the constructor that has no argument. All right, that's fine. And then I will create another object, employee, and I will say this is another worker, just as we did in the previous tutorials, and this is equals to new employee. But now this time I don't want to reference to the constructor that accepts no argument. I want to reference to the one that actually accepts an argument, one argument of type int. So let me check, do I have such a constructor? Yes, there it is. It's of type int and it accepts an ID number, employee ID, and it takes that employee ID and set that to the accessor, and the salary is 0. So this is fine, no problem. All right, let me create another object, and I will call this one it's not just any other employee, it's the boss, and this is equals to new employee. Now I want to pass in some few things. Now in here I want to pass a character A. So which constructor is it referring to now? It is referring to this one, a char. It accepts a code and sets the ID number and the salary to these values. So that's why I don't have a problem with that. All right, that is fine. So what is it that I want to do here? I want to have a write line. Okay, I want to have a write line. Okay, let me just import. Let me just come here and just say using static system.console. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is to have a write line, and in this write line I want to say create some spaces and display things in a tabular form for me at position 1. Okay, and then once that has been done, I want to say another worker dot ID number. There it is, very good, comma, and I want to say another worker dot the salary, but attach some currency symbol to that. Good. This is the first write line that I want to have. I want to have another write line, and in this write line I also want to do the very same thing. So 0.4, very correct, 1.14, and once that is done, I want to have I want to have the boss dot his ID number, comma, the boss dot the salary dot to string with some currency symbol attached to that. Very important. Do I have to have another write line? No, I don't want to have another right line. So those are the two right lines, but let me have three of them. Let me just have three of them, because I have for a worker, I have for another worker, I have for the boss. So let me do for the a worker. Let's have for a worker. So let me just have a right line and just say 0.4 1 comma 14, and then I want to say a worker dot id number comma a worker dot salary dot to string with some currency shown there. So I have for another worker, the boss, and a worker, because these are the three objects that I want to have. And then I want to just to display the information of these three objects in a tabular form. So let's just run the code and see if things will work out the way in which we have predicted. Okay, let's check. So this is what we have. So the first thing that will be displayed, I have another worker. Let me just put it here. I have another worker and his ID number is 243, and then the salary of this individual is 00, because that's what I have assigned inside. Let's go and check. So another worker, when I invoke sorry, so the salary, it's 0 here and it's 0 there. You see, only when I invoke the boss, this one, which accepts a character, only the salary is different. So the one that accepts a character, only the salary is different. So hence we are having that. So the boss, there it is, accepts a char, and the salary has a value of this. So we have the ID numbers and the salary values. And now what makes the difference here is that the 0,4, I'm saying in position 0, I want to have ID, and then this 0,4 and 1,14, what it does, in position 0 I have the ID number, in position 1 I have the salary, and this 0.4 and 14 create some spaces for us here. So it creates some spaces for us. So hence you can see that we have some spaces, but because of this number gets a little bit to the left of the value because of the amount that it has. So this is just what I wanted us to look at. So I think we should just stop here for a little bit, and then we will in the next tutorial just try to use this keyword in another class and see exactly how it will function in that one. So thanks for just watching, guys, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Alright, for the sake of completeness, guys, I think we should just wrap up this video by just looking at something. Let's just come here, let's just add a new item, and let's just call this a box. So we are just going to wrap up this video by just calculating the dimensions of a box. So suppose I have an internal class which is called a box, and I want to have some few properties. So remember, they will always be public. So this will be public, it will be of type int, and it will be the height of this box. And because it's a property, I will just use auto implemented get and set. And let me just copy this and paste. So the second one will just be a width, and the last one will just be the depth. Right, that's fine. So these are the properties, that the auto implemented properties that I have. And then let me just create a constructor autocomplete, and it will accept no arguments. And then what it will only just do, let me just delete this. Right, so I will just set the height to be equals to 1, and the width to be equals to 1 as well, and the depth to be equals to -1. Oh sorry, let's just make it 1 also. Okay, that is fine. And I can just go to the main. Let me just go to the main, and when I am inside of the main, what I will do is to just comment on this. So the first thing that I will do when I'm on the main is to create some object box. Box equals new, and I will just do this, and I will just say okay, because in this constructor, let's check the box. I have a constructor that accepts no argument. Remember, it accepts no arguments. So what I want us to do there is to just create, before we can create the object, let me just get rid of this. What I want us to do is to just create a method. So it will be an internal method, and it will be static, and it will return void, and let's just call display the dimensions. Let's just say display dimensions, and now it will accept two things. It will be of type int, it will accept a number, and secondly it will accept an object, and I will just call that the box. Very important. I've made a mistake. Right, so let's check. In this method, I am accepting an int num, and I am accepting the object which I will call the box. Alright, and then let me just come here and just say using static system.console. Alright, so what is it that I want to do here? I just want to have a right line, and in this right line I just want to say box 0, and then has maybe a height, and the height would be a certain value, let's just say 1. Okay, and it also has a width, and the width would be of a certain value, and it also has the depth, and the depth will be of a certain value. Okay, so all right, box number, so this will be passed as a parameter, and then it has a, remember I'm accepting the height and I am accepting the width, which will be the box. So now this is the box dot. I know that the box has a width, very important, and the object box dot, and I am accepting the depth. It's very important you understand what is happening here. I'm saying box number, there's a height and width and the depth, so I'm accepting num from the user. So the user will type in the box number, and then the height, the width, and so I will get the box number. Okay, so remember what I have here. I have box. Okay, something is missing, I can see. So let me just have a comma here, and this will be box dot height. So the first one, after accepting the number, I have to accept in the height and the width and the depth. So I am saying, okay, I'm creating the object. I'm accepting an object box, which I will call box. So it will attach the height for me, it will attach the width for me, and it will also attach the depth for me. Very important. Okay, that is fine. I don't think we are having any problems with that. So here I am now. I am saying, okay, I have created an object box, which I will call, let's call this box 1. Let's call this box 1, and it's equals to new box. And what I will do there, I will pass in the values now. Now I am passing in the value of the height. So how do I access this height? Very important. How will I access this height? So when I say box 1 and I press the dot, and now do I have access to the height? There it is. So I will set the height to a value of 3. This is very important. But when I hover over here, there's a problem. Right. Invalid anonymous type member declarator. Anonymous type member must be declared with a member assignment simple name or member access. So this is not working. So why is it not working? Let's go to the box and let's just make this public. All right, and let's go back to the box, and we are still encountering the same problem. But if I come here and I just say height, do I have access to the height? No, I seem not to have access to the height. It's not there. All right, so let me just do this new box. All right, and then I want to say now there it is working. It is working just fine. So I can say the height is equals to 3, and I can terminate this with a semicolon. So I can say box 2, and I can set the width to be a value of 15. This is the width. And what I can do, I can have a box 3, and I can say now the depth it's equals to 268. Right, so once I have these things, I can invoke a method, the display. Okay, sorry. So what I can do, I can say I have a method, remember, inside of the box, display dimensions. So I can come here and say box dot display dimensions, and what I can do, the display dimensions accepts two things. It accepts an int, which is the number, so this will be number 1, and it also accepts an object. So I will send first box 1. Very important, we dealt with this, so there's nothing new. And I can copy this and paste 2 times, and this is box number 2, and this is box number 3. So I will send in box 2, and I will send in box 3, and then let's try to run this code and see exactly what will happen. Let's just run this code and see what will happen. So I have some problems here. Right, why do I have these problems? I have box 1, box 2, box 3, height, it's 3, there it is, height is 0, and width is 0. So box 1, height is 3, height 0, height 0 for box 1. Width will be 0, width will be 15, and width will be 0. That's fine. But the depth is 268, because that's exactly the value that I have set here. So box 3 has a height of 0, a width of 0, and a depth of 268. So why is it like that? It is very, very important that we understand this, because inside of the constructor we have said that the height is 1, the width is 1, and the depth is 1. So that's exactly what we have said. Now what I'm referring to is this. Let me just go down. Did I set that? Let me check. Inside of my constructor of the box, oh sorry, I made a mistake. I could have created a constructor, sorry. So let me have a constructor. It will be public, it will be a box, it will accept no arguments, and the height will be equals to 1, and the width will also be equals to 1, and the depth will also be equals to 1. Very important. Okay, let me just close this. Let me go back here and run this. so that I can explain exactly what is happening. Now things are working just fine. So look what has happened here. Because in box 1 I have overridden the height. The height is no longer 1. Look here. The height is no longer 1. It will be replaced by a value of 3. But because in box 1 I did not override, in box 2 I did not override the height is still 1, and in box 3 the height is still 1. Let's go and check. Here it is. So in this class, in this object, only height is 3, but it will initialize the height in box 2 as 1 and 1 because I did not set the heights here, right? But the width in box 1 I did not set the width, so it will take the one from the constructor, which is 1, but the width in this one is 15, and so on. So for example, in box 3, because I did not set the height will be 1. I did not set the width will be 1 from the constructor, and only the depth will be 268. Right. Let's explain something else again. When I am in this box and I am creating this method display dimensions, very important, I am accepting an int which the user will type. You will say this is box 1, 2, or 3, and then I am accepting an object. So when I am here, I'm saying the box number, there it is. The height via the object will be a box dot height, box dot width, and box dot depth. So this is very important that we understand that. So let's just pause here, beautiful people, and I will see you in the next tutorial.